Jake Sterling was not like the other prosecutors. He walked the courthouse halls with purpose. It just felt different. The other lawyers wore their suits like armor. They followed the rules. They played the game. But Jake saw the rules as a cage that often let the guilty walk free. He believed in justice, not dusty law books. He looked to the tired eyes of victims. He had a reputation. Some called him a maverick. Others used harsher words. They called him reckless. They whispered his methods would destroy him. He didn't care. Winning was all that mattered. His office was a mess of files and coffee cups, stale caffeine and sleepless nights. He stared out at the sprawling city below. The city was a beast. It had dark corners where monsters hid. Law should be the light, but the light was too dim, too slow. The monsters were smart. They stayed in the shadows beyond a search warrant or proper subpoena. He had lost cases he should have won. Predators went back to the streets. Those losses haunted him. They fueled his fire. The district attorney, Marcus Thorne, watched Jake closely. He called Jake into his pristine office for lectures. He warned about crossing lines. Jake listened and nodded, but he was already thinking of the next case, how to win, no matter the cost. The Costello case was a fortress of silence. The Costello case, Jake began his investigation the official way. He interviewed detectives. They just shook their heads. They told him stories of witnesses who suddenly developed amnesia. They spoke of key evidence mysteriously misplaced from the evidence locker. The paper trail was clean. Costello's businesses were legitimate on the surface. Restaurants, construction companies, laundromats, but everyone knew they were fronts. They were places where money was cleaned and secrets buried. Costello was a crime lord, untouchable. For years, he ran the city's underworld with an iron fist. He was suspected of everything: drug trafficking, murder. Yet no charge ever stuck. Witnesses disappeared, evidence vanished, juries were intimidated. This case could make a career or end one. Jake opened the file. The challenge was clear. The rules had failed to stop Costello. Jake decided he wouldn't play by them. The tab read Vincent the Ghost Costello. The name chilled the legal community. Costello was a phantom, always present, never caught. His only potential witness was Maria. Her brother had been a bookkeeper. He'd been found dead a month ago. The police called it a suicide. Maria knew it was murder. He had proof. He kept a secret ledger, a ledger that detailed every crime, every payment, every drop of blood on Costello's hands. But she didn't know where it was. She was terrified. She had seen Costello's men watching her apartment. She knew what they were capable of. She was his only hope, a fragile key to an unbreakable lock. Thorne told him to build a conventional case. "Do not get creative on this one, Jake," he had said. "Costello is too big." The pressure was suffocating. The trial date was approaching fast. Jake had nothing. His case was a house of cards built on the word of one terrified woman. Costello's lawyer, a slick corporate shark named Peterson, filed motion after motion. He tried to get the case thrown out. He accused Jake of coercing his witness. He painted Maria as an unstable, grieving sister looking for someone to blame. In the courtroom, Peterson was smooth and confident. Jake felt like he was fighting with one hand tied behind his back. The judge was growing impatient. The law was on Costello's side. The system was working exactly as designed for the rich and powerful. One night, Maria called him on the burner phone. Her voice was a panicked whisper. She remembered something about a safe place where the city sleeps. He had a storage unit. It was under a false name. She gave Jake the address. It was a long shot, a desperate hope. But it was all they had. Jake knew what he had to do. He couldn't get a warrant. He would have to break the law to uphold it. He waited until after midnight. The storage facility was in a desolate industrial part of the city. The air was cold. He wore dark clothes. He picked the lock. The sound of the metal clicking open was like a gunshot in the silence. He found the unit, number 237. The lock was old and rusty. He used a small flashlight to search. He moved with frantic energy. He tore open boxes. He looked under tarps. He felt a growing sense of despair. Then he saw it. Taped to the bottom of an old wooden desk was a small black book. He grabbed it. It was the ledger. Names, dates, amounts. A detailed account of Costello's empire of crime. He had it. He had the weapon he needed to finally bring the kingpin down. Getting the ledger was one thing. Using it was another. The book was poison. It was the fruit of an illegal search. If he presented it in court, Peterson would have it thrown out immediately. The case would be dismissed. Worse, Jake would be disbarred. He might even face criminal charges himself. He was trapped. He held the truth in his hands, but it was inadmissible. He sat in his office all night, the ledger on his desk, the city lights twinkling outside. He thought about his career. He thought about the law he had sworn to uphold. He had broken his oath. And for what? For evidence he couldn't even use. He decided to leak a single page. He sent an anonymous copy to a trusted investigative reporter. The page detailed a specific bribery payment to a city councilman. It was a huge risk. If it was traced back to him, he was finished. He wanted to create chaos. He wanted to shake the tree. The story broke the next morning. It was a bombshell. Costello knew. He didn't know how Jake got the ledger, but he knew he had it. The threats started subtly. Jake's tires were slashed. A dead rat was left on his doorstep.
The Mr. Costello knows you have something that doesn't belong to you, the man whispered. It would be a shame if something happened to that pretty witness of yours.
They were going after Maria. The game had changed.
What have you done, Jake? You have declared war on a man we cannot beat, and you have set this entire office on fire, and when I do, you are finished.
Jake walked out of the office with the weight of the world on his shoulders. He was completely alone. The day of the trial arrived. The courtroom was packed. Costello at the defendant's table, calm, confident next to his lawyer. Jake felt a cold knot of fear in his stomach. He had one last desperate plan, a gamble that could win him everything, or cost him his life. He made an anonymous call to police about a large shipment of drugs. The tip came from the ledger. He timed the call so the raid would happen during court. He hoped the news would shatter Costello's composure. He called Maria to the stand. Her hands trembled as she took the oath. Jake led her through testimony. She spoke about her brother and his fear. Peterson was brutal on Cross. He attacked her credibility. He made her seem confused and vengeful. Jake watched the jury. He could see them doubting her. His plan seemed to be failing. The courtroom went silent. A court clerk rushed in with a note for the judge. "There's been a major development," he whispered. Police raided a warehouse owned by Mr. Costello. They found millions in narcotics. The tip was anonymous but specific. The media firestorm was intense. Jake looked at Costello. The man's calm cracked. Panic flickered in his eyes. The jury saw Costello's reaction. The drug bust news plus Maria's confirmation changed everything. In the chaotic aftermath, Costello's empire crumbled. Associates, fearing they'd go down, began to talk. Costello was convicted. Jake had won, but alone in the empty courtroom, he felt the price. An ethics investigation loomed. His career likely over. He had broken all the rules. He had served justice. He had lost himself along the way.